Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to go to Milan. He still scored a lot of goals.
Oh, yeah, 22.
What, 25 games?
10 assists.
Those are Ronaldo numbers, Messi numbers.
MLS, dude.
The MLS. How about that garbage the MLS put up with Joseph Martinez with all these goals? Right? That's his name. The one from Atlanta. Joseph.
I
think it's Joseph Martinez.
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about.
He's like the all-time leading goal scorer in the MLS. They put this guy literally in the same tweet, like a picture with Ronaldo, Higuain.
Oh, come on.
I'm like, listen,
nah.
Hey, I'm happy for the kid. Like, that's cool. That's great that the MLS has a player like that. But let's be serious. This guy can't make it into Serie A. He can't make it into La Liga. He can't make it into the Premier League.
He would have a rough start.
He wouldn't even make it into the Portuguese or French league. He'd be sitting on the bench behind Dolberg at Ajax.
Yeah, probably.
Not
right.
probably. Most
You're right.
certainly.
Yeah.
So
you would have a hard time. That's for sure.
But yeah, kudos to Ibrahimovic. I'm happy. I know it's the MLS. It's not like the greatest league, but I'm happy to see that he's performing well after that scary, tough knee injury that he suffered a couple of years back at Man United.
Yeah, how long was he out for? It was a while.
No, not really. He was back on the field.
It was actually a really, really fast recovery.
Yeah, it was actually a very fast recovery.
Dude, he tore his ACL, and then like 3 months later, he was doing kickboxing routines.
Oh, was I thinking of something different then?
He was cleared to play, but he wasn't ready to play at Man United, which is why they sold him to to Galaxy.
My brain got confused, obviously.
But he was fit to play, but his form wasn't there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it wasn't enough to keep up at the time. Right now, I think he's going to do just fine wherever he goes. Fit that role, being the third option at Milan, if Milan continues to pursue him, because they need help up top.
I guess we'll see. But,
well, speaking of Manchester United,
that's what I was going to say.
I was thinking about them too.
Perfect.
All right,
let's talk about Man United then.
So yeah, back us up a bit. Take us through what exactly is going on over at Manchester United.
Yeah, you're the big Man United fan here, Rui. So you got to fill us in.
So my take on this is Mourinho's not on the hot seat, not anymore. I don't think he ever was. I think he's gonna stay there for I wouldn't say a long time. He's gonna stay for the rest of the year, and I think he's gonna be there next year. He's come out and he stated that he wants to stay at Man United and he wants to win for a much longer time. He's been offered to go back to Real Madrid, and he has said that he has no intentions. He's declined all rumors saying a possible return to Real Madrid. He wants to stay at United and he wants to win. And I can totally see this. And I can totally see the board at Manchester United going along with this.
Manchester United had a really, really tough start at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're completely out of form. Couldn't do anything on the pitch. Losing to bottom of the table teams. And Mourinho was basically ready to lose his job. And
I think those are all speculations.
Right. No. It was speculations, but he was basically rumored to be losing his job pretty soon. He was on the hot seat. And as of the last 5 weeks or so, since the last international break maybe, the week before that.
Yeah. Okay. You could say that.
Manchester United start to pick it up. I think they had an EPL match, and then they had their Champions League match with Juve.
I want to say after the West Ham loss, which was a few weeks back, it was an embarrassing loss. They should have never lost this game. They lost 3-1. The following match was against Valencia, a Champions League match where they tied.
Should have won that one.
They should have won, and they were lucky to come out with a tie. But something changed. Something happened. I don't know what it was, but that game against Newcastle where United went down 2-0 off the bat. I think it was within the first 12 minutes. Something changed, and it started off with, in that match, Jose Mourinho taking out Eric Bailly in the 18th minute. He saw his club was down, and this is where Mourinho is known. This is what he's known for. Tactical changes. He did it last year. He did it at Inter Milan. He did it at Chelsea. He did it at Porto. In the 18th minute, he made a substitution. He put in Juan Mata, took out Eric Bailly. And who scores the first goal for Man United? Juan Mata. Sparks the club. They pull one back. They get a second. And then at the end of the match, they buried one in the 90th minute to seal the victory. They were down 2-0. Mourinho knew that putting in Juan Mata in the match was going to make the difference, and we saw it. Once Juan Mata entered the game, you saw complete tempo change. There was more attack, there was more control, there was more possession, more opportunities. United almost looked like United again. And I know it's just Newcastle, but it doesn't matter who you are. When you go down 2-0 against anyone, especially in the EPL, it's different. It's difficult.
Well, my question is, who's to say that was Mourinho who did that? Who's to say that it just wasn't the players just going out there and just playing?
You don't think that switch had anything to do with them winning?
Oh, I think that Mourinho was the one who made the switch, but who's out there playing on the field?
Of course. But Mourinho has trust in his players. When you make a tactical change, when you make a substitution, okay, you hope for that substitute to make an impact in the game. That's what you want out of them. Otherwise, you wouldn't put them in the game. Mourinho saw that this team was down, and these points were crucial because it's Newcastle. They're supposed to win this game.
Yeah, they are supposed to.
They're supposed to win this game. So Mourinho saw that they need to win this game, and he felt that Mata was the right guy to put in. 18 minutes. 18 minutes, and the game changed after. And he was the first one to score.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced that.
Neither am I.
I'm not convinced that he's not out of the hot seat. They had a horrible start to the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were just saying, they lost to West Ham 3-1. And yes, they've begun to turn things around as of late, as of the past 4 fixtures, 3-4 weeks maybe. But I still don't take Mourinho out of the hot seat. Because
absolutely not, yeah.
You lose to West Ham. You play a Champions League game against Valencia, and yeah, Valencia is playing very well. You should still beat that team.
Mm-hmm.
You go to play Newcastle. You go down 2 goals. Yeah, you come back and get the win, but you should have never gone down 2 goals in the first place.
Exactly.
Now, they have been turning it around. They went and they played Chelsea. They tied Chelsea 2-2.
Which they should have won. They should have won that game.
Fair enough. I'll give you that too.
And that's
a top
team in the EPL.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a top team in the EPL.
Yeah.
They were ranked first. I believe they were ranked first.
No, that's a big boy game. Absolutely.
And they should have walked out of there with a victory at the end. Was it Ross Barkley? Yeah, Ross Barkley put one away at the end, which was a total. I don't want to say it's a garbage goal, but it was just a gimme, which it should have never happened. But United walked away with a tie, which was a good result. It was a good performance for the team. It was just that one mistake that just killed them. That took away 2 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say anytime you can walk away, when you play the Man City, when you play Chelsea, anytime you can walk away with either a win or at least a draw.
Yeah,
obviously.
Well said.
But it's the little teams that count.
So yeah, they tied Chelsea 2-2. Then they go into their Champions League match with Juve. Now, Juve won that game 1-0, but
the scoreline doesn't say what that game was.
Does not accurately depict what happened in that game because Manchester United did play very well. They were
the second half.
In the second half, they played well.
Yeah. In the first half, they didn't play so well. I wasn't very impressed, but in the second half, I felt that they did play well, and again against another big boy team. And then after the Champions League game against Juve. Then they had a game against Everton, their most recent match.
That was a good game for them. That was a good performance.
That was a good game.
Again, another team that they need to beat.
Right.
Everton's a solid team. Everton's not an easy team to win. to beat.
But when you're Man United, that's a team that you beat. You're supposed to be. That's expected of Man United to beat.
Okay, not necessarily. That's a team that can draw. That's a team that can upset against a bigger team. Yeah, obviously Manchester United is the bigger squad. They have much more quality. Yeah, by a lot. But they do have the capability of pulling off a draw, making it difficult, or even coming away with a win. It's like Juventus playing against Lazio. It's never an easy game because it's Lazio. They're a decent squad, and you can't take them for granted. No, you're the favorites. You'll win. You'll most likely win. But it's not. You're not playing. You're not playing against Udinese. You're not playing against Bologna. You're not playing against smaller teams. Yeah. Like that's that 4.5-star team that's just gonna be that could annoy you and make it difficult.
Yeah, it might be more like 4 stars. We'll take that. Let's take that half away. That's just me.
But yeah, okay.
I hear you though. I hear you.
So, but
right.
that's a team that you want to win against, and you want to play well against.
But here's what I'm saying. Let's look at the cold hard facts here. Manchester United have won 5 of their past 13 games under Jose Mourinho.
Mm-hmm.
That is abysmal for a club of Manchester United standings, a club that is worth over $4.8 billion, a club that makes more money than any other football club in the world. More than Real Madrid. They are the second most valuable sports franchise on the planet.
No, they're ahead of the Cowboys.
Oh, just recently?
They're ahead of the Cowboys now.
That's good. But going back, 13 games. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable by Manchester United standards. Am I saying that necessarily puts Mourinho in the hot seat? No. The reason why I don't think he's going to lose his job quite yet is because there's just slim pickings of other managers who would be willing to take that Manchester United job. And they would need to find someone to fill those shoes. And there isn't anyone. Antonio Conte, that would cost them a shit ton of money that they don't want to spend.
United could spend money on practically anyone.
Well, when
they have the money. Especially when they didn't spend at all in this offseason, in the past transfer window.
Because they didn't want
Mourinho
to give Mourinho more money.
Yeah.
Because the club has lost faith in Jose Mourinho.
Not anymore. They just guarantee that they just announced that they're going to give him 100 million euros to buy players in this coming Manchester United.
Yeah, no, but like what source? I'm curious to know, because I just read a source from ESPN that says the club is willing to veto any sort of request that Jose Mourinho puts through.
No, the board came out and they announced that they're going to give that they're going to give 100 million euros for him to spend
in January.
And their targets are center back and a striker.
Well, we all knew that they needed a center back.
Yeah, they need a center back for sure because Bailly's not working.
Lindelof's not working. And guess who picked them?
Smalley. Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, all the signings. I mean, since 2016, Mourinho signed 11 players, and they costed over 360 million pounds. 360 million pounds, and maybe 2 of them were worthy of it. Were worthy of the purchase.
Yeah, maybe.
Something is not right. I think, honestly, I believe that that they didn't come out to be what was expected of them. Lindelof just not performing to expectations. Eric Bailly constantly injured. Inconsistency, lack of form, lack of confidence. Being injured all the time just almost guarantees one thing. You're inconsistent. The lack of repetitions on the field, the lack of chemistry building around your players. United's always rotating their back four. And it's hard to communicate, it's hard to execute, and it's hard to perform. And this is where they're lacking this year, because the last 2 years, they've actually been a very good defensive team.
I think that says more about Jose Mourinho's style than anything else.
Well, Jose has always been a defensive coach.
Yeah.
He's been like that at Porto. He's been like that at Chelsea, Inter, Manchester United. That's how he's always been. this year it's not working, and I really don't know if this is all Mourinho's fault because there's lack of leadership in that locker room.
Yeah, it would be totally unfair to put it all on Mourinho.
No, there's
But he's definitely
blame.
a big part of the reason why. Because when you're the coach of the team, it's your responsibility to make sure that they go out there and that they play.
But if the players do not execute, if the players do not play well, like he said, Marcus Rashford looked scared on the pitch. People don't have that fight. And
he's also playing Rashford out of position, so let's get real with that too.
He's playing him. He's playing
him on the wing.
On the
he
wing.
needs to play in the center. That's where he's comfortable.
Well, Lukaku's there.
So you find another system. You make them work.
So here's one thing. Okay, you put Rashford out up top, and you're gonna bench Lukaku. Rashford doesn't perform up top. What are your other options?
Well, we don't know that. We haven't seen that because all he's done is play Lukaku up front. But this is what makes this problem so interesting: is that there's not just one single person to blame. It's probably multiple people. But Jose Mourinho just so happens to be the face of Manchester United right now.
Yeah, but so like I said before, and this is the point that I was trying to get at. At first, like as Mourinho said, players were lacking intensity. Marcus Rashford looked scared. On the pitch. In the last few matches, we haven't seen that anymore. I think there is a turnaround because after the Valencia game, that game against Newcastle where they turned everything around, Mourinho made that tactical sub. This is what he was known for. Puts in Mata, made a huge difference, and they came out with the W at the end. Mata was the first one to pull one back. He made a huge difference in the game. The team started attacking and creating opportunities. That led up to the first goal, and it led up to the build-up to the second and to the game-winning goal, where they walked out with a victory, where in most circumstances, teams would lose. And we saw this last year against Manchester City. They beat Manchester City down 2-0, and they made the tactical changes, and Mourinho's tactical changes is what made the difference in that match. And this is what he is known for. This is why he's been a good coach. We've seen it everywhere. Now, we obviously against Juventus is just completely more organized, mentally tough, talented, more talented than United. They were predicted to win this game. They should have won by a higher result. But There was something different about that Manchester United team in the second half. Did they deserve to win this game? No. Did they play better than Juventus in the second half? No. Did they play a good second half? Yes. But you saw a change. You saw that fight. Mourinho couldn't say that Marcus Rashford looked scared or Paul Pogba looked out of form or lacked leadership. There was a different fight to it. Yes, they lost. They didn't play their best game. They didn't deserve to win, but they played with a different mentality, with a different outlook. They fought hard. They worked hard. They turned things around. And yes, they didn't come out with the win, but that mentality changes a season. That mentality.
You're drifting slightly off topic here because I don't think either me nor Joe has questioned Manchester United's play recently. I think Joe,
definitely.
Do you
not
agree
recently.
with me? Do you agree with me that like Manchester United, obviously within the last 4 or 5 matches, whatever, have played well?
Yeah, they've definitely played better.
So Joe and I are in agreement in that. But the big question is Mourinho still on the hot seat?
No.
And for that question, for me, is yes. I don't. Yeah, they've played well in these most recent matches, but that's not enough for me personally. I need to see more. You need to start coming out with. You need to start winning those games against Chelsea, not just walking out with a 2-2 tie. You need to handle Everton. You can't go down 2-0 to Newcastle. You should go up 3-0 to Newcastle. And then not give up a goal, especially when you have someone like De Gea in net.
You can't lose 3-0 at home to Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, in the game, going down 2-0, it happens. starting off poor, it happens. We see this with the biggest clubs. You know, we saw this earlier in the year with Juventus when they went down 2-1 to Chievo Verona in the first game of the season. And it's just like, how did this happen?
That was the first game of the season.
I understand that. But Juventus is Juventus and Chievo Verona is Chievo Verona. They're at the bottom of the table. But how did this it does happen. But sometimes it takes the coach to make the proper substitutions, which Bernardeschi, I believe, scored the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, Manchester United played poorly in the beginning of the Newcastle game, but who got him back on top? Got him back on track?
Juan Mata.
And who put in Juan Mata in the 18th minute? Who makes a substitute? Who ever makes a substitute in the 18th minute? Mourinho saw something, and he felt that this was the right decision to make. But this shows the quality. This shows the quality in him.
The sample size you're going by is also really small. That's one game where he's done that for Manchester United this season.
Not just one game.
Where he's made that kind of change for Manchester United this season, and it's made a difference.
But things are turning already. This was the starting point. We've seen a big difference of Manchester United from that game to now. And that's 4 games.
I'm not denying that.
They're still not at the caliber that. So you look at the talent that's on that team.
Mm-hmm.
They're not at its. They haven't reached their full potential yet.
Nope.
And
still a very young team.
I don't think Mourinho's the guy who can take him there. I think that he's gonna he's gonna make it to the end of the season, and then they're gonna be looking for another coach. That's my take on it.
I think you put it well. The sample size is too small. I think they're turning in the right direction right now, but I don't know if they've completely turned that corner to say Mourinho is no longer in the hot seat.
Right.
To me, he needs to continue. So you look at the next couple of matches.
Who do they have coming up?
Their next match is Bournemouth. Then they have Juve in the Champions League. Then they have Man City, Crystal Palace, and then Young Boys in the Champions League game.
That Man City game is going to be huge for him.
And
that's going to be
so
big.
these next 5 games that's key. So for Mourinho to prove to me that he is no longer should be put in the hot seat and that they have really turned the corner, I need to see Manchester United blow Bournemouth out of the water, show up in that Juve game, and play well. They don't have to win because I think Juve is the better team, but put up a good fight like they did in the first game. Play Man City just as hard as they played Chelsea. Either walk away with a draw or come out with the win. They should handle Crystal Palace easily, and then they should play Young Boys and
they should
win. Be a
They
win.
should
That
win.
they have to
Automatic
win against
win.
Young Boys.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think Mourinho understands this, and I think the majority of the football world understands this. Manchester United right now is, unfortunately, the rate that they've been going at this season, they're battling against Valencia to see who's coming in second place in this group.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to Turin praying to God that they can walk out with a tie.
Yep.
Because right now they're battling for Valencia. Right now they're in second place with 4 points. Juve has 9 points.
Yep, all 9.
All 9 points. And Valencia's with 2. They walk out with a tie against Juve. That's a good result. But they have to show up against Young Boys. They have to beat Young Boys, and they have to show up against Valencia.
Not only do they have to beat Young Boys, but I think that they actually need to put up some goals against Young Boys to pad
Put the goal differential.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree.
Because the game with Juve is obviously they're probably going to lose that one. So if they can either walk away with a draw or even just hold it to a 1-0 loss, you can go in, you handle Young Boys, help that goal differential, then play Valencia. That game's probably going to determine who moves on in that group.
Yep.
So and that'll be a very, very good game to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's gonna,
assuming they can get,
if they can pull off a draw against Juventus, it's gonna be huge for them because they will have 5, and say if Valencia does win against Young Boys, Valencia will also have 5.
Yeah.
So they'll be tied in points. Goal differential is going to be the key. So that game against Young Boys, it has to be a win. They cannot afford to lose. They cannot afford to draw. They have to win and win big
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
if they want to have some leverage. And then when they go and play Valencia, they have to perform. They have to perform for the rest of this group stage.
I can't disagree with anything that you said.
And you know what? If they don't get out of the group stage, and I believe they will, then yeah, I believe that Mourinho will get canned. But as of right now, because the group stage is so
I don't
far
want to
ahead,
say yeah.
it's still a while. There's still a while to go. I think right now he's safe because he won that game against Newcastle. It showed his quality. Had a good performance against Chelsea in the league where they should have won. They played well though. They beat Everton. They showed fight against Juventus. There's something picking up. I believe there's something picking up.
Oh, no question about it.
Yeah.
I think it's
on,
obvious that
he's going to stay. Right now, I think he's safe. But if they collapse in the Champions League, he's done.
I think that he's
done.
Like I said, I think he's probably gonna last the year no matter what, just because of the slim pickings of managers that are out there right now.
And the only thing that will keep him as manager, if they don't qualify for the knockout stages, is the Europa League.
Yeah. Right.
Because he won it a couple of years back with United.
Mourinho also came out and saying that he's targeting top 4. You have to.
Yeah, you have to.
I don't think that they're even going to get close to winning the league, but they got to shoot for the top 4. Anything else is going to be a failure for them.
Right now, I think they're like 9 points behind Man City. They're in 8th place. 8th place, 9 points. Damn, I'm good.
They're only 9 points behind Man City, which is kind of amazing.
They'll catch them though.
They're not going to. No, they're not going to catch them. But only 9 points.
It's still a mountain to climb.
What if they beat Man City? What if they beat Man City?
Then they'll get that 3 points, and it'll be another step closer to the top 4.
That's a big 3-point swing.
Yeah, they have to perform.
So maybe we'll have to have this conversation again after Man City versus Man United. But for the time being, I'm thinking that he's still in the hot seat. His position is not entirely safe. I don't think the board has entire faith in him. And I'll leave it with this. When a legend, a Man United legend like Eric Cantona says Manchester United is suffering under Mourinho, that says something. And that's the end of my rant.
It does say something. I'm sure. United fans expect more from this club. They expect more from Mourinho, but they do like him, and they believe that that he's not the main problem of this team, because this team was just completely out of touch from the beginning of the season. Between Pogba, they don't have a leader. They don't have a leader in the locker room. Pogba started off the season as the captain, and Mourinho, within 2 weeks after, says you will never wear this band again.
There's something there.
And you know what?
It's both Mourinho and it's both Pogba's fault. But I don't know if we should go down that wormhole and try and figure out what's wrong with that, because
it needs
something is wrong there
in order for them to succeed.
Right.
And I think it's going to turn around. Anthony Martial, there was speculation of him wanting to leave. He's not happy with Mourinho. His agent has already come out via ESPN saying that he rejected the first offer from Manchester United, but he is willing to negotiate with them. And he's snubbing Juventus. He's snubbing Bayern Munich.
That him signing a new contract doesn't necessarily mean that he won't leave. That'll just gives the club time to get a better fee for them.
His agent has spoken for him, saying that he would stay at Old Trafford.
Is it a step in the right direction? Sure, I betcha.
I think that's like a sign of relief to most Man United fans. Like, okay, so there was all this speculation of him not being happy, not performing well. There was him and Mourinho having a little feud. They're not happy with one another. They can't work with each other, etc., etc. But he's willing to stay. I think there's something turning here, and we're seeing it in performance. Right now, like I said before, I think his job is safe. That doesn't mean he's not going to be back on the hot seat, because it can happen if they don't qualify for the knockout stages. Okay. And if they start blowing games in the EPL. They need to win their next match. They need to win against Manchester City, and they need to win against Crystal Palace.
Yeah. These next 5 games will be big for them because it's actually a really good test. You get Juve, Man City. You've got a couple of really big name teams in there, so those will be a good test for them. And then they also have the weaker teams: Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Young Boys.
Yep.
Those are the teams that they should be blowing out of the water. So again, these next 5 matches, it's going to be a good test for them to really gauge where they're at, and in what direction they're heading in. So
yeah, it's going to determine the next month.
Yeah.
The next month is really going to determine the fate of the United season because it needs to turn around.
Now, on that note, I think we're running out of time right now.
Oh, wow.
So,
Really?
Already, yeah.
Time just flies.
Yeah, I don't know, Joe. You want to take us out again?
Joe.
I'd be glad to. All right, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter at RCR_podcast. That's at RCR_podcast. You can't forget the underscore. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, that's at Red Card Report, all one word, at Red Card Report.